So I know it's been a while since I've done an actual gameplay video for Legends. It's mostly been talking about news lately, and we got a new season, we got a new monthly card, and I thought, you know what, even though we haven't got like a big expansion yet, even though Isle is still on the way and not quite here yet, I wanted to do something with the new monthly card. And I was playing on break during my workday today, and I was playing on my lunch break. And I found a list that I rather liked. I was just kind of experimenting. This is a list that actually took me straight from rank 5 to rank 4, straight 7-0. There was some luck involved, but it was a nice, clean run, and I like the list. I'm going to say up front, I don't think that this is fully optimized, and I'll talk about some potential changes or places where you could make some changes if you don't like the list as is. And I also think that this list is not something that will always be effective on the ladder. I think that this is the sort of deck that you keep in your back pocket, and if you're seeing a lot of aggressive decks on the ladder, then you break this out. This is very much like the old Tempo Assassin list used to be, and still is in many ways. This is a list that targets other aggressive decks, and it does so in a very aggressive fashion. Now, let's take a look at the list, right? Right out of the gate, you're going to notice we've got Mudcrab Merchant, Steel Scimitar, pretty standard aggressive stuff. But we also have Afflicted Elit and Blighted Elit. And that's going to tell you a little bit about the rest of the list. So you'll see we have Initiate, Cutpurse, Stalker, Gloom Lurker, Brotherhood Slayer, Morkel Gatekeeper, and yeah, that's 18 creatures with Prophecy. Now, it's not like a full half of your deck like straight Prophecy Battle Mage, but it's enough that you should on average be getting 2 free creatures per game, and that can be a really big deal. And then when you combine that with the already good traditional aggressive cards in this list, things like Mournhold Trader, Bladed Elit just by itself hits like a truck, Gambler is a nice body that also has a great effect, but then also the movement package, and this is I think the other place where this deck or this particular list shines. Dune Smuggler can provide you with some utility and mobility while also buffing your creatures. It's effectively a 4/2 when played because of the +1/+1 it provides. And then you have Dune Stalker. And now I'm currently running Archer's Gambit, and the reason I'm running Gambit is because it can help trigger the Slay on Slayer. It can help trigger Pilfer or Slay on Punisher, and it does also just represent 1 bonus damage. Sometimes that matters. But if you wanted to run something like Shadow Shift, I would understand. If you wanted to run a mix, and I was talking with CVH today, and he was talking about maybe going with a 2/2 split. I think that's fine. But there's room to kind of tinker here. If you want more Prophecy creatures, you'll also notice there are pretty popular Prophecy creatures that I'm not running. The new Ambusher is not in this list, the 4/1 Orc is not in this list, and Protector of the Innocent is not in this list. So if you say, hey, I'm not hitting enough Prophecies as often as I would like, or I just want to add more in, you could consider cutting the movement package to jam even more cards with Prophecy in. I personally like having a balance. I think that it's important in a Prophecy deck to have enough cards that you want to actually play from hand, and then also enough cards that you're hoping to hit for free. So that is kind of why this list looks the way that it does right now, and as I said, it performed pretty well for me earlier. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and take it for a spin for a couple of games on the ladder and see how it does. Alright, so here we go. We're gonna start by going up against Telvanni right out of the gate, which will not likely go well for us because Telvanni isn't the kind of deck that typically breaks our runes. Like I said, this is a deck that you want to use to kind of feast on aggressive decks. And spoiler alert, this is not really an aggressive deck that we're going up against. So this is likely not going to go well. We might be starting this one out with a showcasing of a bad matchup before we get to showcase a win, sadly. Now we're gonna go ahead and actually take... This is a bit of a tough call. Take this route. I think saving the utility of the Gambit is important because it can help you dodge guards, but the 1 damage can matter against Telvanni because of Tree Minder.
Guards, to me!
Well, that's just rather interesting.
I am ready to join them.
We're gonna go ahead and do this. And we're just gonna go ahead and hide this. Now, they can go ahead and gain some health back, which is not great for us. They do have to break a rune to do it, and of course, it's not when we get a prophecy. Alright. So now we are forced to make some decisions here. We are essentially gonna just have to lose our 4-3s, which is pretty feels bad. It's just a question of what we do after that.
You bet on the wrong side.
And I think that the answer is we go ahead and hide this from the Harpy, and we develop another Blighted Lip. They're still capable of playing Ice Storm this turn, which clearly sucks for us, but they also don't really need to play Ice Storm that turn. Alright, let's see what the Mud Crab gives us before we go too far. Ooh. None of those are great for us, but we don't want them to gain health, right? Right? Yeah, we don't want them trying to gain health.
We must keep moving.
Let's go ahead and ship this over. Punch this for some damage. Bring this back. Now, we're 100% gonna eat an Ice Storm here, right? Like, there's no way that we don't, but we have to do what we have to do to try to generate pressure. Alright, well, it wasn't an Ice Storm, but it was still pretty effective.
My claws greet your throat.
Prophecy. Mummify. Alright, that's actually pretty disappointing, I'm not gonna lie, because I wanted the extra buff.
Did I stutter or something? Protect
And
the
we'll go ahead and develop the new monthly card, Ashlander Punisher. So the good news, this survives Ice Storm at least. Bad news is it does not survive Sorcerer's Negation, because of course they have two. I feel like all day today, like even when I was playing on break at work, it's just been Sorcerer's Negations nonstop.
Magic will take them down.
Like, almost an absurd number of them. What's the best way to tackle this dilemma? Because we can push a reasonable amount of damage here.
We must keep moving.
All right. This time we're doing it like this.
My claws greet your throat. You can trust me.
We're just gonna do that. They need an Ice Storm and then something to put in front of the Mournhold Trader. Ice Storm would full clear.
Black Hand sees all.
So they're gonna make some trades.
By dawn and dusk.
Wow, and the fire bloom. That naturally, you know, naturally catches the favorable target there. Because why wouldn't it? And I think just like that, we've probably lost. Was a good run. They had all of the tools though. Wow.
Just give me an A.
They had all of the tools. They had a black hand and 2 negations.
I sense great power in you.
RP. Interesting. I mean, they have more cruel fire blooms here? Yeah.
Don't mess with me. Clear out.
Yeah, why not?
This should be fun.
I will keep Sotha Sil's people alive.
Alright, so that Galen's gonna go on, what, a Necromancer?
We must count on our wits.
A Sun and Shadow. Interesting. Okay. So that's all of their fire blooms, 2 of their negations. Come on, top deck. Cliff Racer, go!
They are no challenge for the Kashi.
Well, I have to assume Sun and Shadow and Laneth still have tricks up their sleeve, right?
Rise, my
There's the
son.
Necromancer I was expecting. So that'll be a
The
Black Hand
Night Mother will
Messenger.
guide us.
I'll have an answer for the other one as well. We're not out of this. We're looking for Cliff Racer top decks, but it's not looking good.
Kashit has had enough.
It's not looking good, gang. But as I said, kind of going into this, this is actually a really unfavorable matchup. The fact that we've even made it get this close is a miracle.
Behold my power.
Oh yeah, and there's the Cliff
I have
Racer,
many
but
important things
it
on
is
my
too
mind.
little, too late. Too many negations early on. Alright, so that's a bad matchup. That's not what you're looking to do with this deck. So, I think that puts me at the bottom of Snake, too, because I'd lost just before I left work. So let's go ahead and hopefully find an aggressive deck and show you how this thing is supposed to perform. Because, like I said, Telvanni is just not a good matchup for this. Here you're trying to prey on other aggressive decks. Alright, so this is Battle Mage. And let's be honest, this is going to be Prophecy Battle Mage. So this will be a rather interesting journey. And I suspect it to be Prophecy Battle Mage, so I want to throw my prophecies back so that I maximize the chance that I hit my own. And this is a pretty good start. The only way this was better if we had a Mud Crab. Not a Mud Crab.
My bow is ready.
Hey, look. It's a Prophecy card. Do you remember when I said this is going to be Prophecy Battle Mage?
Of course I'm on your side.
We actually will need to play this pretty carefully.
These insects, they dare face me?
Another volley.
Now hear me out. I say we're gonna have to play this pretty carefully, and I'm just gonna go willy-nilly and crack this rune.
Yeah!
But in theory, should have to play this pretty carefully. All right.
Do not test me, Dave.
Blood and
Yeah.
honor.
We want to do this because we would rather trade with this 4-2 than stop the 1 damage. Even if it is a value trade, getting this off the board matters a bit more.
May the fates smile on Khajiit.
In theory, we could even turn that into a value trade with some Steel Scimitar
My
action.
claws greet your throat.
Which is pretty tempting, I'm not gonna lie.
Let nothing through. Close ranks.
Of
And
course,
we'll
I'm on your
develop
side.
our trader again. So they could try to be cheeky, and if they have a lightning bolt, they could peg our Mournhold trader to put the 2-1 guard over there, but our Cliff Racer could value trade in, and then we could try to push more damage that way.
I fight with the fervor of the wild hunt.
Earthbone is another great way to pull a lot of
Hold still.
damage off the board for us.
Yeah!
Alright, hold your breath.
You will die, Shaveskin.
Wow. Is this real life? Hold
Let
your breath.
nothing through. Close ranks.
There's one of those prophecies I've been hearing so much about.
Killing you will make an excellent story.
So, alright, what do they got? They have 8 damage on the board. They're going to have 5 Magicka available. Do we just push this, or do I develop the Punisher to try to Cliff Racer the following turn? Because they likely have a trade here and a trade here or something, right? So that is the question. I think we're just going to develop the Punisher over here. To make them be on their back foot a bit. Cliff Racer was another option, but if they hit another prophecy, they could clean up our board and turn tempo back. Whereas by doing this, we kind of know what they're doing.
To oblivion.
They only bail themselves out if they have a lightning bolt or like a mace to trade. And then even in that scenario, we're like 2 turns out from lethal still with a decent health total, so like if they do trade with this or get rid of this in some capacity, the next plan of action would be you Cliff Racer into this and then just push 2. That gets them down to 7. And then on the following turn, you'll have like
Hold
follow-up.
still.
But
I fight with the fervor of the wild hunt.
so it's
For
looking
the
like
Ashkan.
we just go ahead and get them down to 6. And then we take our Cliff Racer plus Scimitar play and close it out. So that's what we're supposed to do against aggressive decks. The Telvanni game was actually closer than I thought it was going to be. So I guess you can say that might show some strength in the list. It's an overall pretty bad matchup, all things considered, because again, this is a list that is expecting your opponent to break your runes. This is meant to prey on other aggressive decks, and I think it does so pretty well. So anyway, you got to see the monthly card in action, and you got to see a newish deck from me. You know, I've played Aggro Archer in the past, but never one so prophecy heavy, so there you have it. A little bit of Legends content to start the year off. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, may you walk on warm sands.